up, everybody? Welcome back to Star Trek Excursion. We are here to provide to you the most quality Star Trek entertainment that we possibly can. Take that for what it's worth. Now, tonight we have a smaller cast, as you can see, so things might get a little wild. But we have Tony, who plays Roll. Hi, Tony.
Hi.
We have Rebecca, who plays Cordelia Kit.
Hi.
the
Wow.
princess wave. And then, of course, last but certainly not least, we've got Charlie playing Chief Halliday.
Hello.
Hello. All right. So this is going to be kind of weird because Chief Halliday's been spending a lot of time in engineering, and he didn't even disembark the ship when you all were at DS9 picking up your mission. Roll was the only one who was there, so kind of is privy to that information. And in case anybody didn't see, Roll actually did quite well at the Dabo tables.
Oh.
Made a few bars of latinum, nothing to scoff at. Quark got a little bit upset. That was supposed to go to his dental plan, which, if you haven't seen, definitely you got to check out Mimic for Hire's wonderful picture of Quark if dental was a thing. It's the greatest picture I've ever seen in my life, and also most traumatizing. Now, as anybody who watched the last episode will remember, Cordelia Kit was off on a little excursion of her own, hanging out with Q. We didn't get any details about that, and I'm kind of scared to know if we ever even would. But she's back now. And as you can see, the current acting captain, Captain McHale, is he's sequestered away right now. So that means Exo Cordelia Kit is stepping up for this episode and taking the role of captain. Here we go. Now, the last thing that anybody was told was that you all are heading... You all are heading to an asteroid field that was nearby. The asteroids within this field contain an unknown type of metal. It really isn't. Jade Vala says, "Congrats, Captain." I don't know if you can see it on Twitch. So you got one congrats. Now, it's been a couple days since the ship has headed this way, and you are approximately 30 minutes from the asteroid belt. Chief Halliday is down in engineering, of course, doing what he does best, trying to get that extra 1% out of any system that he has his hands in. Roll and Captain Kit are sitting on the bridge. So we are going to open this session up with Roll and Captain Kit.
All right, Roll. Hello.
I'm curious, Captain.
Do you say furious or curious?
Curious.
Curious. Okay.
And
Let's
not
work
that
with that.
Vulcan sort of curious either.
Okay.
More or less. So what did you and Q get up to?
We were figuring stuff out. For me.
Figuring things out.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
All right.
Have you ever gone out with them or had a drink with them or anything, or ever had time?
I've been cautioned against such.
Oh. By who?
The Doctor.
Oh.
But, Vulcans, always the stuffy type.
Yeah, well, I think that once you get to know someone, they can be different, whether that's better or worse, but, how we interact with someone is going to be dependent on, the circumstances given to us. And you should use caution if you want.
My understanding is that he killed the very first captain of the ship.
Oh, and what did you all do earlier with that ship that was in front of us? Didn't that just happen not too long ago when we just came in? When Q and I came aboard, what happened to those people? And who gave that command?
That's a good point.
So I just say
we're just gonna gloss over that.
Let's never mind.
So really, survival of the fittest.
That's fair.
I guess you're right.
It's about this time that you arrive at the asteroid belt. The ensign that is currently occupying the science console hits a few buttons, turns around and the Vulcan ensign says, "Captain Cordelia Kent, I have some parameters on the asteroid belt ahead of us."
Okay. Continue. Anything else?
Would you like me to put them on the main viewer?
Yes, please.
A few more buttons are pressed and it pops up on the main view screen. You see there are varying floating asteroid rocks of just all different sizes, but they all appear to be some kind of dark compound, but surrounding each and every one of them is this kind of a mist almost that is a very pale blue. It almost like kind of comes off of it every now and again, like a solar flare would kind of, and just dissipates into space. The Vulcan science officer says to you, "The gravity in this particular asteroid belt is 0.05. The dangers that I am detecting are deadly atmospheres, and the thin mist appears to be ionic radiation. The main component of these asteroids, from what our sensors can detect immediately, is some sort of unknown metal. However, it appears from initial scans that we would be able to use this metal as a form of self-regenerative ablative plating for the ship."
That sounds like that would be quite beneficial given the issue that we encountered before with other ships. Roll, what do you make of this?
Combat applications are fantastic. I think we need to get engineering on this right away.
I think that they would be quite interested in finding this out. Then paging Chief Halliday.
Halliday.
Would you mind coming up to the bridge, please? We have some information that I'd like to share with you.
Sure. I'll be right there. I'm there.
Yeah,
Wow,
a few
that was
moments
fast.
pass and Chief Halliday enters the bridge.
So, Chief Halliday, we have this, as you can see on the display here, about the belt that's ahead of us. What is your take on this information?
Well, what's the information you guys have on it so far?
Well, it seems that it would be applicable for our ship for some engineering application.
What part is applicable?
Regenerating the whole.
Whole regeneration would be nice, almost as if it's like a. But in what aspect are we gonna? I guess it would be the. That means what's the information we got from science?
I mean, there's like gas, and there's a belt, and there's whole regeneration. So we're at an impasse of whether or not you think that this would be an endeavor for us to either get samples from or
Yeah, absolutely.
go out to.
Whole regeneration from being able to use a particular alloy from this belt. What do the scans show? What's the information that you got from scanning?
We have no further information. It is a unidentified compound of some sort. All that I am detecting with the scanners is that it is some sort of self-regenerating metal, but without getting a closer look, I dare not throw any more ideas out there.
Maybe we should
Let's
beam
go ahead
some
and send
aboard
a
the
probe
cargo.
out to it, see if it's interactive. Because if it's self-regenerating, then it obviously has some sort of option to. It has some sort of way of movement. You know, I'd hate to stick the ship right in the middle of a bunch of asteroid, and then an asteroid belt that has something that's going to try to attach itself to our hole. Our hole.
Correct. Put a hole in the hole before we get the regenerative hole alloy.
Right.
I concur. How would you like to go about ascertaining? How would you like to go about collecting a sample?
Let's go ahead and send a probe out. One of the little robotic probes that we have.
Okay.
See if we can go out and get a sample. Actually, you know what? Why don't we go ahead and do this? Well, I don't. Let's send a probe out and check it. Just to see. I'd like to send a probe out to test it out to see if it has any kind of of its own defense mechanism. I don't know what's out there, and if it doesn't appear to put another technological advice, to any kind of danger, why don't we go ahead and I wouldn't be opposed to tractor beaming a piece of the asteroid into the shuttle bay and shielding the area.
Okay.
Sounds good.
That
Yeah.
sounds reasonable to me, Chief Halliday.
All right. So, sending a worker bee out, it gets close and begins taking readings. And what it sends back to you is that the initial scans with the sensor arrays that signaled that this was ionic radiation, it was actually kind of confusing the sensors. The ionic radiation is actually a ionic gas cloud. So basically, each of these asteroids is encased within a cloud of ionic gas. It can be quite harmful to sensors, but the ship itself right now is far enough away that it's not going to cause any trouble like that.
Right.
So, at this point, you said you would like to use the worker bee to collect a sample?
Correct.
Or are you going to teleport it or transport it?
No, I don't know how it will affect transporters, and I don't know how the transporter, breaking down the molecular structure of that and then putting it back together, but we don't know what it is yet. That doesn't make any sense to me. So let's go ahead and just have the worker bee. I mean, if there's a piece large enough for it to grab, let's just go ahead and have it bring it back into the shuttle bay and make sure that the shield is up for contamination purposes.
Right on. The worker bee collects a asteroid sample, or rather, it gets close to attempt to gather a sample, but once it gets within the ionic cloud, it begins cutting a small sample from the asteroid. The cloud that's around this one particular asteroid seems to just completely dissipate in just an instant. It's gone. Like if you drove through a cloud and it just kind of dispersed. But then after a few more seconds, there is a massive explosion. All of the asteroids begin just like a cascade explosion effect. And this, in turn, sends out a massive shockwave, which puts the ship into a flat spin, careening through space at this point. There's sparks flying everywhere.
Call shields up. I
Shields
will.
up.
Shield. Yellow alert.
Everybody's doing the flopping around, the camera shake. The science officer calls out, all sensors are malfunctioning. Main power is now at 30%. The helmsman turns to look at Captain Kit and says, the helm is not responding. The inertial dampeners are all offline.
Shields are at 20%. Weapons are offline.
Okay, that's good. The spinning. How do we get the spinning to stop? Do we have like thrust us in another direction?
It's like we got to get them inertial dampeners back online.
Oh, go ahead and can I do a roll? Let's see if it works. Let's go ahead and release pressurized gas from one of the valves on the side of the ship to see if we can slow it down.
Nice. That's what I'm talking about. All right, so you are going to try and roll some...
Can we use a momentum point? Can we
Absolutely.
use a momentum? Yeah, yeah, definitely use a momentum on this if everyone's in agreement.
I need the I don't have the roller.
Oh, it's on roll 20, right? You gotta be in roll 20.
Yes.
I have a die.
Let me... That's fine. If you have a physical die, roll it up.
Yeah, I won it the other day.
So what your target you're looking for is going to be reason plus engineering. That's your target number. While you're doing that, the helmsman turns around again after just smashing buttons on the console just to no avail. Captain Kit, we are at warp 9.9.
Yo, where are we going?
Forward.
What?
Boldly going forward.
Man, it really shot us.
We need to get back to where we were
I
going.
rolled a 20. I kid you not.
Nice.
Like,
is that good in this game?
Can you see that? I don't even know if you can see that.
It is actually...
There we go. We see it.
It is actually not good in this game.
Well, that's
Yeah,
not
I
good.
don't know if a 20 is good in the D10 system, though.
So yeah, in this particular game, 20s are the equivalent of ones in every other game out there.
I didn't know that. I should re-roll.
Yeah.
My Irish lucky.
But
Yay
so
for D20. Woo! We're going.
how the rolls work though is you roll twice. You're going to roll 2 d20s, and then because of the momentum point, you actually get to roll a third d20.
Do you have three D20s? I do.
Okay.
Do you want me to roll?
I rolled. The first number was 20, so that's a null and void. The second number is a 5.
Okay. That is a pass.
The third number is a 12.
All right, that is a pass. You expel gas out of the ports, trying to get this flat spin under control, to which it does. The ship stops flat spinning. However, you are now flying through space sideways at warp 9.9.
Now we're like this.
With the inertial dampeners offline, you are definitely feeling like every bump, every bit of turbulence.
Well, we're feeling it, but she can take it. We just got to figure out a way to slow it down.
So, here's what we need to do. Basically, each system, tactical, science, engineering, and helm, all have to work together to correct and stabilize the ship and get it to stop. Each attempt takes 20 minutes of game time. So, with that being said, Chief Halliday, what we need from you is going to be 4 separate rolls of reason and engineering. Remember, each roll is 2 d20s, and you're trying to get under your target number, which is reason plus engineering.
Okay. So you want it 4 times?
Yep.
Well, I got 1 die, so we'll just have to keep numbers. Ooh, first number is 5.
Let's see. So basically, what would that be? 8. You need to roll it 8 times. You've got 1 pass so far.
Oh. Well, I just rolled a 3.
That's another pass.
I need to roll a what?
What is your reason plus engineering?
That's a great question. I have to make sure I have all the info because the other information was deleted. Let's see.
Uh-oh.
It's okay. I've got backups.
Actually, while
Do I
we
need
are
to do
looking,
it as well?
yes, well, I was going to say, while he is looking that up, Captain Kit, you're going to be rolling control and command. And then our good friend Roll is going to be doing
A roll of his own.
security and security. Let's go security and fitness.
And I
No,
need to roll
security and
6
daring.
or 6 d20s?
8.
8 d20s, okay. And
Yep.
each roll needs to be under my total, which is 14.
Correct. If you
Varying in
get
security, okay.
Yep. And if you get your actual number, then that's like something really good happens. And if you roll a 1, that counts as 2 passes.
So I just rolled mine, and I got 4 that were under my target number and the exact target number, which is 14. So I got 5 out of my 8 die were at or below the number needed.
Perfect. Which system would you like to correct? Would you like to correct helm or would you like to correct science?
Oof. Big oof.
Ooh. I'll go with science.
Okay. All right, so you kind of basically what you're doing is you are using your immense captainy presence to help that poor Vulcan figure out what he needs to do to correct the situation. The helmsman is still working at it, and it's slow going. All right, now Chief Halliday, did you figure out the number that you needed to beat?
Yeah, was it? What was it? What were my two?
Reason and engineering.
Reason and engineering. My reason is 10, and my engineering is 5, so 15.
Yep, so 15 or below.
All right, so far I've rolled a 5 and a 3.
Yep, you've got 2 passes so far.
14.
Oh, close. And roll, are you doing this as well?
Oh yeah, I rolled 2 18s, an 11, and a 15. My number is a 15.
Nice.
There are my numbers. The last one was an 8.
Okay.
Need to
So
go to
Chief
the
Halliday, you get engineering under control. Everything goes back to normal with yours. Now, tactical, you are still struggling a little bit, but not that bad. You were right on the cusp of things. Helm gets their end under control. So, tactical, roll. Make one more set of rolls and see if you can get this in a last-ditch attempt. You still have 2 momentum remaining. The party has 2 momentum remaining if
I
you'd
won't
like
need
to
it.
use one.
So I rolled a 17, a 12, a 16, and a 9.
Well, all right then. You get tactical under control. Helm makes... sorry, gotta grab my die here. Helm makes their roll and brings the ship both out of warp and facing the correct direction. You all are alive. The ship, however, is not 100% as good as it could be. Chief Halliday has some information in the computer system to let him know what damage is actually there and needs to be fixed. I need to get rolls information. All right. All right, so the helm kind of sits back, just like, wow, that was nuts. That was worse than any simulation that I did in the academy. I don't ever want to do that again.
You don't?
Oof.
No.
Sensors are indicating Bajoran wormhole to now be 100,000 light years away.
100,000 light years. That's like 90 years of travel at maximum warp.
Is that an issue?
Yeah, it's an extreme issue,
It very well could be.
considering we can't go past warp 4 right now.
I mean, technicality. I mean, not like the second, but you know, if we wanted. I'm not getting
any response from most of the systems, says the helmsman. I'm not sure exactly what's happening. Captain, what do we do?
I think we should ask engineering. Engineering knows how to fix things.
Yeah, I've got a lot to fix.
Holiday. Chief Holiday.
So between us and the bridge, we've got heavy damage to the dilithium crystals, and our antimatter injectors are running at half. The left warp nacelle is showing signs of being prone to overheat if pushed past warp 4, and we need both of those in order to reach past 4. We can't run on one wheel.
How long to fix them?
I won't know until I get down there with my crew to go ahead and see exactly what's going on with it.
What do we do until then? We're sitting ducks out here. The Dominion, they could destroy us at any minute.
I mean, how far are we from the belt now? That we were just near?
In the realm of 98,000 light years.
And how close were we initially?
To
the belt that exploded in front of us that got us to the position that we're at.
We're 90 light years from the wormhole to go to the Deep Space Nine wormhole.
Yeah.
Wormhole.
Yeah.
So
to get to the wormhole to go home, it's going to be about 90 years.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
At this speed?
No.
At the warp speed, the max.
Yeah, at max.
That's okay.
Might I make a suggestion?
That's okay.
It's slow. It's slow. It's like sometimes you have extra passengers and you get to go in the star lane, and the other times you got to go on the right. You know.
I mean, it is what it is. There's no sense in worrying and on it about anything. Sure, some of you have family. I'm sure you'd want to go home one day. You want to have access to life outside the ship. I mean, this situation doesn't exactly bother me, but in general, the suggestion I'd like to make, though, since we're out in unknown, uncharted areas, I think we should do more repair to the ships before we do a wide range scan to see what's out here, because that may be just setting off a beacon to show people where we were at. And I also suggest we go into a dark mode, if you will, so that we are here. I mean, the ship is designed to be stealth-like.
And we still have that capacity. One of the things that is not broken.
And if we happen to pick anything up, the cloak is still in operation. So if we happen to see anything on long-range sensors pick up, we can make it look like they had an error on their screen.
Captain, should I bring us to dark?
Yes, roll.
I like it. So the ship goes to cloaked mode, which is
it goes
funny
dark
because of all of the information that I was giving you all and that you were shouting out to each other and everything. You are correct. The only thing that was not damaged was the cloaking device.
Yeah.
And you didn't tell me that.
I need
to know from anyone else.
The ship is currently cloaked, but is sitting still in space. So it is kind of up to you how you want to proceed at this point. The scanners are barely operational. They're going to take some time to repair as well. Luckily, that's not wholly engineering's fault. The science officer can take that off of your plate.
Captain, might I suggest you make a ship-wide announcement to have everyone be minimal when it comes to using devices and making noise?
Yeah, that is a great idea. I will do that now. Thank you, Chief Halliday.
That is standard practice for Dark. For running
Yes. Yes, I just wanted to make sure that we had all of our faculties in order before I continued, in case there was any other additional information that needed to be included.
Dark. Submarine combat.
We don't need to tell the crew.
I was going to say, at this moment, you've got probably 200 or so crew members that have no idea what's going on.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Do we have any damage to anything else?
Nope. No other damage other than what I sent you already.
Okay. The transporters are offline, by the way, so you guys will all have to hoof it.
So I'm going to disseminate information through my underlings, and then so on and so forth. In my department at least.
And Chief Halliday, you're good with engineering?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm going to go down there right now and start working on it.
I've got this bridge covered.
I suggest if we need any kind of I don't know what's out here, and I don't feel like being picked up on some sort of blip, so
that's pretty reasonable.
Hey, I wouldn't be here if they didn't pick up on a blip. So good things can come in random packages.
Basically, since we all know what we need, we can have an ensign message carrier pigeon, if you will. I wouldn't even be using comms right now, so
okay.
I don't know what's going to be picked up.
Okay.
So
silent.
Yeah, I haven't.
And we get text messaging on our pads.
Well, SMS to everybody.
Yeah.
SMS, save my ship.
It's the old style where like A, B, and C are the first button, so you gotta sit there and hit it 3 times for C. These are terrible. It's the 24th century.
At least Nokias don't break.
Says Nokia right across the pad. All right, so
we're gonna win anyway. Sponsored by Nokia.
No. And in answer to that, Chief Halliday. So the science officer is trying his best. He's really Bulbasauring this, trying to fix those sensors. And it's just not going well for them. So they'll have to try again in a little bit. Chief Halliday, you proceed back down to engineering, correct?
Yes.
All right. You get in and, through training and just being used to, having you as a boss, essentially, all of your senior staff is ready to go. They are standing at the center table, waiting for your orders, waiting to hear what happened. All the, little grunts are running around doing the best repairs that they can. And basically they're just awaiting orders from you.
All right. Well, let's go ahead and get done what we need to do. You guys know what's being damaged. I want to go ahead and work on getting the warp fixed first. So, actually, we need to go ahead and make sure that the dilithium crystals have been repaired or replaced, and then we don't need to worry about the. I want to be able to move this out of the way if we need to move the ship. So we won't worry about the matter antimatter injectors as of right now. So,
Aye, sir. They all scurry off to go do their assigned roles. What is it that you would like to do?
I'm going to go ahead and work on the antimatter injectors. So,
Okay. All right. Just make a reason and engineering check. And while you are doing that little set of rolls, Roll and Cordelia, the two of you are sitting on the bridge. What is it that you're going to be doing?
I guess I'm instructing security officers to patrol the bridge, or not the bridge, but the ship and everything. They're kind of like hall monitors, and at the same time providing securities, making sure everyone's like,
monitor.
Yeah,
They've got like the little sashes on. It says
Yeah.
safety on it.
pretty much. Yeah.
And Captain Kit, what are you up to?
I'm gonna go down to Med Bay to see if there's anything going on there. I have some previous experience with that, so a little bit.
All right.
So I'm gonna see if anybody got knocked up or knocked around to see if anybody needs additional assistance.
They got knocked up.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's a
This
whole
isn't that kind of starship.
yeah. This is a starship. Oh goodness, that's amazing. All right, so you are heading down to Med Bay. Roll. The security officers are listening very intently to you, and aye, sir. We'll do half-hour intervals. Is there anything else that you would like us to do other than patrol?
Report any suspicious activity. I guess we still haven't caught that saboteur yet.
Gotcha. Aye, sir. They head off the bridge, go start wandering around. Cordelia, as you are almost to the med bay, you are walking past one of the storage, basically just a broom closet, essentially. But as you walk by, you see that the door is open about an inch, maybe an inch and a half. And immediately catching your attention, you can see a pair of feet on the floor.
Oh. Okay. So, hello? Hello?
There's no response.
Curious. So she's going to, is there a handle or a button to open it? Is it like a swing open door or?
There's like, you hit the button and it slides open.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yep, so she's going to hit the button and see what's in there.
You see a human Mako officer, the Section 31 security guards, laying on the ground.
Ooh, no bueno. And so she'll kneel down and kind of like tap him, kind of. I mean, can she tell if he's like incapacitated or like, hello?
Poke him with a stick. Yeah.
She's like, ah, shucks. Okay.
Sweet tooth. Yes, getting close. I need you to do a where is my character sheet? It ran away on me. All right, I need you to roll a reason and medicine.
How many d20 do you want me to roll?
2.
You said medicine and reason?
Yep.
So my medicine and reason are 3 and 9, so 12. And I rolled a 13 and a 19.
Don't kill him, Captain.
So when I said that I had points in medicine, I didn't say a lot.
Yeah, I'm just imagining like Cordelia's like, hey, Are you okay? And doing like this to his face. Just smooch
Just like
face.
tapping him on the chest, like,
Yeah.
are you
Hey,
okay?
Hey,
Do you get a concussion?
Flap, wake up. You appear to be in need of medical attention.
Maybe she needs to
Like
back.
I'm on the
body.
way to the. She's probably sitting there like, I'm on the way to medbay. You should probably go with me. Someone there can help.
this poor human is not responding. He's actually cold to the touch.
Ooh, that's different. Okay. So Cornelius. Okay. Cornelius is gonna walk out and shut the door. And then she's gonna stand outside because she doesn't want anyone to see what's going on in there. And kind of just call for the doctor. Sorry.
So Dr. Sevik is a bit tied up at the moment. So his nurse practitioner that I am not even sure I remember the name of at the moment proceeds down the hallway to you. Yes, Captain. You requested my assistance?
Yeah. Can you do me a favor and go tell anyone else in the med bay that we need to be silent and not to talk and to not use comms or anything of that sort? Can you do that for me?
Yes, but didn't you just use comms to get a hold of me?
I'm slow. And I really had a thought that I needed to get to you, but then I had a better thought. So if you see Chief Halliday on your way there, will you tell him that I need him instead?
I will. I Captain. And she turns around and walks back to medbay to relay that information and then proceeds to engineering. Now, meanwhile, down in engineering, Chief Halliday, you get those matter-antimatter injectors fixed up. And as things are starting to come together down there and your lackeys are finishing projects here and there, the nurse practitioner from the sickbay comes in and walks straight up to you. Chief Halliday, Captain Kit is down by storage room 13B. She sent me to get you.
What does she want?
I'm not sure. But
Go
she said that it was a problem that only you could handle.
Okay. Not that I'm not busy already in engineering trying to fix this mess. Let's go ahead and I'll be down there right away. So I'm going to go ahead and go down there.
Okay.
Oh, Chief Halliday, it is so good to see you. Okay.
Why?
You said that you had a device earlier that could grab something and bring it onto the ship, correct?
Right. It's our tractor beam.
Yeah. Do you have a device that can take something from the ship and put it off?
Why?
I'm eager to see where this goes.
And then she just hits the button and it just like slides open. We need to get rid of this, but I don't know the best way to do so.
Hold on a second. So, is he dead? So I'm gonna go over and check his pulse.
You check his pulse, and he's in fact dead.
That was an unnecessary step, Chief Halliday.
Well, you know those engineers.
Well, if I don't do it, it's not done right. So, and our medical officer isn't here right now. So,
So we have a problem and a solution. And we're
Yeah.
going to solve it by
we're not jettisoning this body outside. What we need to do is take it to med so they can figure out what happened to it.
Are you serious?
There's no damage over here. There's no sign of damage on the body. I don't see anything physical. And we should probably find out what happened. What's his name? Do you know his name?
Why do we care?
Why do we care?
Do you know who he is? Is he part of the crew?
Does he have a uniform on?
I barely have a uniform on. Okay, let's
Oh
be
my!
real. I mean,
Does he have a
Maybe it
uniform
is
on?
that kind of starship.
Does he have a uniform on? Do you see a uniform?
But yes, they are parts, kind of, sort of parts of the crew. They're added security. They're like rent-a-cops.
Right. It's a rhetorical question.
Well, that was more for Captain Kit, who wasn't privy to this information.
okay. So we will care about this person and get him to medbay before we decide to go
Genocide.
with my plan.
Well, of course, we'll give him a proper burial, but we definitely need to find out what happened with the body first. So,
Space him.
I mean,
All
what if
right.
there is some sort of pathogen or something on the ship? That's out of my field, but you know, I
If
don't.
he's off the ship, there's
I
no
don't feel
pathogen
like
on the
turning
ship.
I don't feel like turning into a doorstop. I don't know about you, but
Facts.
maybe we need to quarantine.
Right.
Let's
So
take
far,
So-
you and I are the only two that have
right.
been
Well-
in contact with them.
We can't certainly put ourselves in the position of attracting some, not attracting, sorry, contracting something. I suggest, as bad as it says, or bad as it sounds, is we go ahead and get 2 ensigns to carry the body down to med. So,
We don't have a
So
machine
hard
or
not to
something that
laugh.
can bring it down there, or like something that can like grab it and
yeah,
bring it.
we do, but maybe I can surround the ship with a dampening field so that we can go ahead and use more electronics on the ship for right now.
That could work. Roll daring and engineering this time. Now, while you are rolling that,
Oh.
roll back on the bridge. You are basically in charge.
Rolling. It's my time to shine.
And while you are doing your thing and soaking this in, that would be 2, Chief Halliday. The science officer turns around to you and says, oh man, what rank are you? Are you commander?
I'm a
Lieutenant commander?
commander.
Yeah. Lieutenant Commander Roll, I have information.
State it.
I was able to repair the long-range sensors. There's a system nearby that has 14 planets that I am picking up. Oddly, though, only one of the 14 is a Class M, and I am detecting 700 life forms on the surface.
700 life forms.
Correct, sir.
Can you tell if they are a pre-warp civilization or do they have warp capabilities?
Sir, I don't know how to tell you this, but they are all Klingon.
He's gonna stand up and like look at the on screen and like walk toward the monitor and kind of like look at the screen.
So yeah, they put up basically a planet that looks very similar to Earth, and it definitely appears that it could support life. Sir, beyond this, I have no further information, and I don't know what to do at this point.
You've done good. This is all we can do to now. Send the information over to cartography and the science team, see what they can figure out.
Aye, sir. Chief Halliday, you get enough successes that you are able to put a dampening field around the ship, allowing you to use your communications now.
Great. Engineering to medbay.
Go ahead, engineering.
I need you to retrieve a body and take it back to medbay.
On our way.
Down on my location.
Few minutes goes by and a couple of ensigns come in wearing full PPE.
And I'm and also like once I get as much information as possible, I'm gonna by the book report it to the commanding officer, and that would be Kit.
Yep. So while these two ensigns are in, using tricorders to scan the body and figure everything out, Captain Kit, you, I'll let you two kind of RP that out. So roll your...
Two ensigns showed up in full gear, didn't they?
Yes.
You said PPE.
Full PPE, okay. Yep.
And Kit and I are basically standing next to each other watching them, right?
Yep.
Okay.
So Chief Holiday.
Hold on one second. When they scan the body, what did they find? Are there any kind of pathogens?
So they scan the body
Nothing
and find that there are no pathogens.
Okay, good.
So,
yes, Kit.
So about the pathogens, can we? What are we doing? What? Okay, there's no pathogens. We don't know how he died. We can get him to medbay. Hopefully, this PPE isn't necessary because we did not bring it ourselves. So.
As far as we know,
our tricorders are not reading any pathogens, Captain. However, he was definitely slain by a disruptor beam.
That's a problem.
That is a huge problem.
That's a problem.
That's a huge problem.
So
we have a spy among us, everyone. Engineer. Wait, Rawl can't hear us right now.
No, it's just us together. So we need to get
Roll. The bridge.
This is the bridge. Go ahead.
The three of us need to meet immediately.
Right? Yeah.
Your place or mine.
Let's go ahead and go in the ready room.
So,
let's get ready in the ready room.
Few moments goes by, new scene starts. All three of you are now sitting in the ready room.
Right. So, Roll, thank you for joining us. We have a situation where we found a deceased member of the crew, and after confiding with Chief Halliday and deciding that doing the opposite of onboarding the crew member, he gave me information that we should do more for this person, and we did. The good news is that it is not a pathogen to our knowledge. The issue is that we have a spy. He was slain.
Killed by phaser.
He was, yeah.
Disruptor. Wait, phaser.
Disruptor, yeah. Sorry.
Okay. Well.
And he was in a hidden location. Well, out of the way in an area that I do not suspect that he would have been in otherwise, or would have gone on his own. In the way that I found him, it was not something that was done too long ago, but was not a result of the catastrophe that was going on amidst our.
I'm sorry. Did you say the victim was somewhere where he should not have been?
He was in an area that was, I would say, questionable. Yes, you followed it?
Yeah, question to the DM.
Yep.
What was that room?
It was storage room 13B.
What?
Oh, that explains it. All kinds of haunted things go on down there in 13B.
What are the contents of 13B?
It's just a very simple storage room. Mostly extra data pads, things of that nature.
Perhaps it may be prudent to toss that storage room just to be thorough.
Well, we can now that the body is being removed. However, we couldn't up until we got you into the ready room because we had to make sure,
Absolutely.
But I agree that area would be ideal. However, we do not know who they were or why they were here beyond being a member of the crew.
So there is a saboteur. There was a bit of suspect of foul play previously. I've been having one of my own kind of look into this.
I'm going to say Halliday to engineering.
Go ahead, sir.
I want you guys to lock up storage room 13. You said B13. I want a force field on the door before we get back to it.
Oh, and I want to make sure the Lieutenant Gardner is in here because she's basically the ship investigator.
Okay. So a force field gets put in place on 13B, and Lieutenant Gardner steps into the room. Lieutenant Commander Roll, you called for me?
Yes. Everything that you're about to hear in this room doesn't leave it. Is that understood, Lieutenant?
Absolutely, sir.
And then we're going to bring up to speed and then pick up back where we left off.
Okay. I will begin looking into this immediately, sir. And she just kind of stands there.
I'm going to give her like this kind of like expectant look and then be like, "You're dismissed."
Thank you, sir. She turns around, does an about face, and walks out. And goes to begin her investigation. Now then, to the three of you, what do you do now? Roll, you still have the information because we didn't get to RP it out about the Klingons. So you.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, because that I'm like, whoa, you guys just dropped a bomb on me. Now let me. Now it's
haven't told
turn
us.
to return fire.
My turn.
You also haven't told us your findings yet. So.
Findings
about the Klingons.
Oh, yeah. That's what we're just saying.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. And he's like, now, Captain, we may have a problem. We may have Klingons
on board currently.
Well,
you're saying the Klingon did this?
I mean, there's a Klingon. There's a planet of Klingons on scanner range.
Is that a problem?
I mean, we do have Klingons on board, but I don't think they're a problem.
Okay, so I fail to see an issue. We have them on board. They're out there.
Yeah.
We're stealth right now, so.
Well, the issue is that there shouldn't be any Klingons out this far. That's the issue, Captain. And there's 200 of them on this planet.
Okay. So, is it possible that they got knocked out here from that meteor belt too? That asteroid belt? They just decided to stay?
Yeah.
Do we have a linguist
possible? But
do we have a linguist on board?
I'm assuming.
Communications officer. Speaks all the different languages.
We've got the universal communicator. Or translator, excuse me.
We don't have a person though. We just have a computer.
Yep.
Great.
We do. I have one. So
we need a Satoshi Sato.
So we do, yes. We have a communicator. I have one.
Might I suggest we investigate this planet?
I am kind of 50-50 on that, or there's 3 of us here, so I guess I'm 33% of this. But I'm just saying that we didn't have the best luck investigating the meteor belt. What would our rationale be for going to that planet?
Oh, I think it's rather odd that we're out here and so are they.
But we have a
I don't
reason.
believe in coincidences.
I'd like to check the status of the repairs done on the ship to see if the. I want to see if if it's been fixed.
It is going well, but they need at least another 13 hours to finish everything up.
Okay, and can we do a wide range scan on the planet to scan for what type of technological devices? I want to see where they're at, advanced wise.
Yes, I've put the science team on. Hopefully we can get some info.
All right, so
I just want to know. I wouldn't be opposed to going down to the planet. I just want to know more about it.
So the planet is actually completely uninhabited except for a concentration of 700 Klingons.
700.
700, yes.
Yeah, that was early.
And the only technology that is being detected is one single Klingon ship.
That's on the surface?
Yep.
So they're like camping out there. Really?
You know what? I honestly think is it so far fetched that what happened to us didn't happen to maybe them?
That's what I'm saying.
That was a really long time ago, and they've populated the planet over how many years? 700
Yes.
people. We're talking about one ship here, so
Yeah.
you can't fit
Like-
700 people on one Klingon ship. They're not that big.
Hmm.
Well, depending on what class ship it is, but I'm pretty sure they don't have one for 700.
I am on board with Yuchi Faladay that what happened to us could have happened to them, but it's also possible that they came in ahead of time and have some connection with that asteroid belt.
Is the ship a bird of prey by any chance?
It sure is.
Okay. Does it seem? Can we tell if it's operational?
So it is generating power, but that's about all you can get from it.
Oh, man. And you said it's on a single settlement, right?
Well,
Yep.
without our repairs completely done to the ship, we don't want to stir up that bird necessarily.
They won't even know we're there.
And the Klingons aren't exactly known for their hospitality. So, I've had a few run-ins with them over the years.
Hmm.
So I agree with you. I believe that we should be in the position where we can leave if we do go down there.
I'm being held. I'll be right back.
Okay.
Absolutely. There's nothing wrong with being prepared. And but with the stealth running here, I don't see us being detected, especially if they have no means to get off the planet.
However, there is the offhand chance that they can get off the planet, and then they outnumber us. We have about 200 on board, our own ship, and they have 700.
I don't think they're crammed 700 aboard a single vessel, Captain.
Well, what they have at their disposal with 700 people to put onto one ship is greater than what we have, especially with someone who's gone rogue and assassinating people.
Which is very interesting. Klingons use disruptors. Romulans use disruptors.
Yeah.
Hey, what's the cutscene here, real quick? What's the thing that I can do to try to roll for speeding up the process of getting this ship fixed?
Oh, you'd have to ask that.
I do have to ask that because I haven't done this in so many years. So
let's see. I already closed all that.
you know,
That we'll have to look at the
2 days, and I haven't done this since I was a teenager. So
we'll have to look at the what you have for focuses and things of that nature. I forget what else it's called on the character sheet.
okay,
I need to open it up here real quick. So you've got focuses, and there are values that possibly could help, or possibly even a talent that you may have chosen.
Yeah, technical expertise is my talent.
Yeah, so if you go to help them, you could finish that well before the 13-hour time mark. So that's not a big deal. Did the two of you come to a decision about whether you were going to go investigate this planet or not?
We are in an impasse.
I wouldn't be opposed to going.
I believe that we've decided that we will make sure that our ship is fully functional before we make a visit or communicate with them.
I'm gonna go help engineering
Wonderful.
get this done, and I think once we have the ship repairs, we definitely should check the planet out.
Okay, with Chief Halliday's help down in engineering, the ship is actually repaired within a couple of hours, and you are able to go maximum warp should you need to. Obviously, that's, like running a car at 120. You don't want to do that for too terribly long. And so you are able to head to the system with the one M-class planet if you would like. And it sounds like that is the route we are going to take.
Gather together first, right? Because I have a little something for them.
Okay. While everything is being prepared on the bridge, Chief Halliday, you come back up and enter the bridge.
All right. So the three of us are going to go to the planet. Yes? That's what we want to do?
Yeah. Gonna leave some people in charge before we go?
Yeah. Repairs are finished. I trust my crew, but I definitely want to go down there and find out what happened.
Nice.
And do we have any status update from Medbay?
So Medbay reports that it was 100% a disruptor beam.
Okay.
Given the trajectory and all of that, Lieutenant what was her name? Gardner? Lieutenant Gardner has begun her investigation in Medbay and has ascertained that the whatever you want to call it, the saboteur, the spy, the murderer, was taller than this agent as the disruptor beam kind of comes down at an angle. So they're in between 6 and 6.5 feet tall. Obviously, they have a disruptor rather than a normal phaser. Those, as Roll stated before, are kind of limited to only a few species that like to use those. The most notable being Klingons and Romulans. So they're still doing what work they can. Unfortunately, this guy's been dead a while. There's no, bringing him back or anything like that. So, what would you like us to do with the body, Captain?
My idea is well,
Torpedo
I would
Bay.
like to give him a short shot off of a long tube.
Might I suggest,
Off of a
Captain,
short tube.
Not that I'm a sentimental type, but
Oh, that's good because I'm not.
the ship is rather in kind of a disarray right now.
Mm,
Having a proper ceremony and whatnot might be a good thing for later. We could
It'd be a good
easily,
morale booster. I concur.
yes, we could easily. We were out in the middle of nowhere. We're going to disconnect ourselves from humanity, if you will. So, I suggest we putting the body on ice, if you will, and deal with it after we're done with our mission.
okay. All right. I mean, there's no. I mean, yeah. Okay, we're good.
You might have friends on board. We don't know
That
him
is true.
personally.
That would be sad. That would be sad for them.
And then he's just going to be kind of blank when he says this, right? He's going to be like, "That's all well, good and all, except for when the bodies start stacking up."
Yeah, you make a really good point, Roll, because if this happens again, we're going to be doing this a lot. So if we wait a little bit, we can just do like a communal one at once if there's someone else is murked in the time that it takes us to get down there and back, which I'm not really hoping will happen. But oh no, this one already happened. Another one might happen.
Let's go ahead. Why
Your
don't we
ability
scan
to
the ship?
administrate death is very fantastic.
We need to scan the ship for all crew that's on board and see if we can't indicate Klingon or Romulan. I doubt it is Romulan, but Klingon, the biometrics for them.
I mean, Gardner herself is half Klingon.
So if there's two entities, then we already understand that it depends on if we have anyone else.
That we don't know about.
Do we have anyone else on board that's Klingon or of Klingon nature?
Yeah,
We've got
there's
a
few.
lot.
Mm-hmm. We are a mixed crew.
Ah,
So, and arguably, it's possible that while we could narrow it down to two groups, it could be contraband for someone else.
Oh, absolutely. The Marquis are a concern. Let's see here.
How many do we
even
have
the
on board?
Cardassians.
We have about 200
how many?
on board
Crew? We have about 200 on board.
altogether.
Yep.
Okay,
Minus one.
and
I mean, technically still on board, but
Yeah,
Right.
Semantics.
Yeah, his corporeal self is no longer with us, Captain.
the role is our security, right?
Yes.
Okay. How long would it take to? How many people would you need if we were to tell everyone to confine themselves into their quarters, and then we could search the ship?
Well, the captain could simply issue the order, and my men can arrest anyone not complying.
Hmm.
Right, that makes sense. I mean, all non-essential personnel, I think, should be put into quarters, and we basically process of elimination and weed this bastard out. So we already know, might I suggest, we already know that they're approximately 6 to 6'5". So I think anyone that's in the search crew, why don't we just put them under the parameters shorter than 6 foot?
Mm-hmm.
I think
There's got to
that's
be plenty of crew members that are 5'9", 5'10", 5'11".
Yeah, we can definitely sort down through that way. There's another thing. Oh, I'd just like to point out that we don't know what this person's motives are exactly. I mean, is he trying to just stop us from what we're doing?
Right. So
or
if
is
we
he trying to
find
blow
them,
us up? Yeah.
if we find them, we can ask them.
I'm curious how this person or where this person was shot. Was it random? Was it in the back? Were they running? Were they also armed? I have questions.
Like, did they catch them in the act doing something? Or, you
Yeah.
know?
Mhm.
And I hope that's what the lieutenant is able to uncover.
Interesting. Very good question.
Check the status on that. See if she's found anything yet.
Or how long, I don't know, how long has it been since we spoke with her last? Or how long has it been since?
It's been probably 20 minutes or so.
Yeah.
And, these are all amazing and perfect questions. And we're going to find out the answers next time on our next episode of Star Trek Excursion. Thank you, Chief Halliday, Roll, Captain Kit. Thank you all very much for, stepping up, crewing the ship, making it happen, saving everybody's lives, careening through space. You all are amazing. Thank you so much for playing today.
Bye, everyone. Have a good
Thank
day.
you for having us.
Bye.
Absolutely. And thank you to all the viewers and listeners who popped in and made comments and had fun. Make sure to follow us on Twitch. It's brand new. And also, because she said something and she jumped in, we're going to give Jade Vala a little shout out. She does some amazing art and she's with D&D Raw. So make sure to get over to her Twitch and follow her as well. So thank you all very much. I hope this wasn't too much of a humdinger for you all, but we will see you all next time when we find out who the murderer is and why is there a planet of Klingons? Thank you all and see you next time. Bye.
Bye.